The council chamber had hosted many historic moments over 3 millennia, but none quite like this. Representatives from all 12 founding species sat in uncomfortable silence as Admiral Carter presented humanity's case from the central speaking platform. The same woman who had been dismissed hours earlier now commanded the complete attention of the galaxy's most powerful beings. Behind her, holographic displays showed archaeological evidence from the Titan ruins in stunning detail. Ancient structures rose from Saturn's frozen moon, their alien architecture defying conventional understanding. Technology blueprints revealed devices that operated on principles the Council's best scientists could barely comprehend. Dr. Martinez stood beside the displays, explaining the discovery with scientific precision that left no room for doubt. The ruins are approximately 50,000 years old, predating any known galactic civilization by tens of thousands of years. The technology we found there represents a fusion of physics and engineering beyond anything currently understood. The revelation that humanity had discovered ancient alien technology sent waves of shock through the assembly. Director Kolveth of the Vortons leaned forward in his seat, his large eyes reflecting the data streams flowing across the displays. Dr. Martinez, are you claiming that your species' advanced capabilities derive entirely from technology left behind by a vanished civilization? He asked. Not entirely, Admiral Brooks interjected from the Leviathan's bridge, his image dominating the chamber's main screen. The ancient technology provided the foundation, but human ingenuity adapted and improved upon what we found. The ship you see represents a fusion of alien knowledge and human innovation. General Vextar attempted to maintain his species' aggressive stance despite the changed circumstances. The Krillian military had built its reputation on overwhelming force and direct confrontation. Subtle technological advantages were harder for them to accept. Even with this ancient technology, you are still outnumbered, he declared. One advanced ship cannot threaten the combined might of the Council fleet. Admiral Brooks gestured to the tactical displays surrounding his command chair. The screens showed energy readings and defensive capabilities that made conventional weapons seem primitive. General, your sensors will confirm that our defensive systems are beyond your current ability to penetrate. Your weapons operate on principles we mastered and surpassed years ago. Lieutenant Commander Turner worked at her station, coordinating with intelligence networks across the galaxy. Admiral, we're detecting quantum displacement signatures at predetermined coordinates. All vessels report ready status. The implications became clear as sensor stations throughout Council space detected brief energy spikes at strategic locations. The signatures matched those of the Leviathan, suggesting that humanity had deployed multiple vessels of similar capability across the galaxy. Council Speaker Zarthek felt the weight of 3,000 years of galactic stability shifting beneath his feet. The civilization he had helped guide was facing a complete restructuring of power relationships. The species they had dismissed as primitive children had become a force that could reshape the galaxy. Admiral Brooks, what are humanity's demands? He asked, choosing his words carefully. The time for casual dismissal had ended. Admiral Carter stepped forward, her bearing reflecting decades of military and diplomatic service. She had waited 50 years for this moment, enduring countless rejections and insults. Now she spoke with the authority of a species that had proven itself beyond any doubt. Our terms are straightforward, she announced. Full Council membership for humanity, with all rights and privileges accorded to founding species. Complete access to galactic trade networks and scientific databases. Recognition of human sovereignty over our current territory and colonies, and a formal acknowledgement that the Council's previous treatment of humanity was based on flawed assumptions and prejudice. The negotiations that followed lasted for 3 days. The chamber rarely emptied as species representatives debated, argued, and slowly came to terms with the new reality. Some, like the peaceful Delphinians, welcomed humanity's membership and looked forward to cultural exchange. Others, particularly the more militaristic species, worried about the implications of humanity's hidden capabilities. Dr. Hayes worked with xenoarchaeology teams from across the galaxy, sharing data about the ancient ruins. The discovery opened new fields of research and raised disturbing questions about what had happened to the original builders. If such an advanced civilization could vanish completely, what did that mean for current galactic stability? Director Kolveth spent hours analyzing human technology and military capabilities. His reports to the Vorthon leadership emphasized the need for caution and cooperation. Humanity had demonstrated both advanced technology and strategic patience. They were not a species to be underestimated or antagonized. The breakthrough came when Council member Ythora of the Delphinians proposed a comprehensive partnership agreement. Rather than simply granting humanity membership, the Council would create new frameworks for sharing ancient technology discoveries and coordinating archaeological research across all member worlds. If ruins like those on Titan exist elsewhere in the galaxy, we need to find them before others do, she argued. Humanity has shown both the capability to understand such technology and the wisdom to use it responsibly. They should lead our efforts to uncover more sites. Admiral Brooks found the proposal acceptable, recognizing that it gave humanity a leadership role in galactic affairs while addressing Council concerns about ancient technology proliferation. The agreement established humanity as the primary authority on xenoarchaeology and granted them significant influence over how new discoveries would be shared. 6 months later, the USS Leviathan patrolled the Outer Rim alongside ships from other Council species. The vessel that had once terrified the galaxy now served as a symbol of cooperation and shared strength. Joint crews worked together, learning from each other and building relationships that transcended species boundaries. Captain Morrison served as the ship's diplomatic liaison, facilitating cooperation between human and alien personnel. The early tensions had given way to mutual respect, as different species learned to appreciate each other's unique capabilities and perspectives. Admiral, the Zephyrian Trade Guild is requesting human escort ships for their merchant convoys, Morrison reported during the daily briefing. Apparently, our defensive systems have made piracy virtually impossible in the sectors we patrol. Dr. Hayes transmitted regular reports from archaeological sites across the galaxy. Her teams had discovered 3 more ruins similar to those on Titan, each containing technology that advanced galactic civilization by decades. Admiral, we've confirmed that the ancient builders left sites throughout this region of space. Whatever happened to them, they wanted someone to find their legacy. Admiral Brooks stood on the observation deck watching mixed human and alien crews work together in the ship's corridors. The sight would have been impossible 6 months earlier. The species that had once viewed each other with suspicion now collaborated on projects that benefited everyone. The galaxy had indeed changed. Humanity's revelation of hidden strength had forced a complete reevaluation of galactic politics. But rather than creating conflict, it had opened new possibilities for cooperation and growth. The ancient technology discoveries promised advances in medicine, transportation, and energy production that would improve life for billions of beings. Commander Williams joined Admiral Brooks at the viewing port, her engineering uniform showing the wear of constant work with alien technology. Sir, the joint research projects are exceeding all expectations. We're learning as much from our new allies as they are from us. That's exactly what I hoped would happen, Admiral Brooks replied. Humanity didn't reveal our capabilities to dominate the galaxy. We did it to earn our place as equals among the stars. The USS Leviathan continued its patrol through space that now belonged to all Council species equally. The ship that had once made the galaxy tremble now protected the peace and prosperity of countless worlds. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not through conquest, but through the demonstration of strength tempered by wisdom. The USS Leviathan dropped out of quantum displacement at the edge of the Nexus Prime system with the force of a thunderclap. Reality twisted around the massive ship as it translated back into normal space, creating sensor readings that screamed across every detection grid in the system. For a moment there was only silence as alien minds tried to process what they were seeing. The ship hung in space like a metal moon, its 15-kilometer hull gleaming under the light of Nexus Prime's star. Weapon systems that didn't appear in any galactic database lined its sides. Energy readings spiked beyond anything the Council had ever recorded. The quantum displacement drives created spatial distortions that interfered with targeting systems throughout the system. On the planet's Surface Council Speaker Zarthek was reviewing agricultural reports when his personal aide burst into the chamber without ceremony. The young Vorthan's eyes were wide with something approaching panic. "Sir, you must see this immediately," the aide gasped. "Something has appeared in the outer system. Our sensors cannot fully analyze it." The main holographic display activated, showing the Leviathan in all its terrible majesty. The assembled council members fell silent as they stared at the impossible sight. The ship dwarfed even the largest council vessels, making their proudest battleships look like escort craft. "By the Ancient Ones," whispered council member Yithara of the Aquatic Delphinians. Her translator unit struggled to convey the mixture of awe and terror in her voice. "What manner of vessel is that?" Admiral Brooks opened a communication channel from the Leviathan's bridge. His image appeared on screens throughout the council chamber, calm and resolute despite the chaos he had just created. Behind him, the ship's massive bridge stretched away like a technological cathedral. "Council Speaker Zarthek, I am Fleet Admiral Ryan Brooks of the United Earth Navy," he said. His voice carried clearly through the translation systems, cutting through the babble of panicked alien voices. "I believe we have some unfinished business to discuss." The chamber erupted as security forces scrambled to battle stations and diplomats argued frantically about how to respond. Emergency protocols activated across the planet as the government struggled to comprehend the situation. The humans they had dismissed as primitive had somehow built a vessel that challenged every assumption about galactic power. General Vextar's voice boomed across the communication array from his flagship in orbit around Nexus Prime. The Krillian battle fleet was considered the most powerful force in Council space, but even their largest ships looked insignificant next to the human vessel. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Council space," General Vextar announced. "Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded for inspection." Admiral Brooks allowed himself a slight smile as he looked at the tactical displays showing Krillian ships moving into attack positions around the Leviathan. Their movements were predictable, based on tactics designed for fighting vessels of similar capability. "General, I think you misunderstand the current situation," Admiral Brooks replied. "We're not here as supplicants anymore. We're here as equals, whether you choose to recognize that fact or not." The Leviathan's weapon systems came online with a sound like distant thunder. Energy readings spiked so high that several monitoring stations on Nexus Prime shut down to protect their circuits. The ship's defensive systems created gravitational distortions that made accurate targeting nearly impossible. Commander Williams reported from the massive engine room deep in the ship's hull. "All systems operating at optimal levels, Admiral. The ship is performing beyond our most optimistic projections." On Nexus Prime, panic spread through the government districts as news of the human ship reached the general population. Citizens pointed at the sky where the massive vessel hung like a new star. The Council's certainty about their technological superiority crumbled in the face of humanity's impossible achievement. Director Kolveth frantically analyzed sensor data from across the system. His worst fears were being confirmed as the readings came in. The energy output from that vessel exceeds our largest orbital battle stations. Their technology appears to be based on scientific principles we do not understand. Council Speaker Zarthek struggled to maintain his composure as he addressed Admiral Brooks. The situation had moved far beyond normal diplomatic protocols. He was speaking to someone who commanded more firepower than most Council species possessed in their entire fleets. "Admiral Brooks, what are your intentions here? Are you threatening the Council with this display of force?" "We're here to ensure that humanity receives the respect and recognition it deserves," Admiral Brooks replied. "For 50 years you've dismissed us as primitive barbarians. You've restricted our access to trade routes, excluded us from scientific exchanges, and treated us like dangerous children who needed supervision. That treatment ends today." Lieutenant Commander Turner coordinated with the diplomatic team as Admiral Carter prepared to transport down to the planet's surface. The Council had requested a formal audience, suddenly eager to discuss terms with the species they had rejected that morning. "Sir, the Council is requesting immediate negotiations," Turner reported. "They want to discuss humanity's status and future relations between our species." Admiral Brooks nodded to Dr. Martinez, who stood ready with archaeological data that would shock the galactic community. Doctor, I believe it's time we shared some of our recent discoveries with our alien neighbors. Let them understand exactly what they've been dealing with. The holographic displays in the council chamber shifted to show images from the Titan ruins. Ancient structures appeared that predated any known galactic civilization. Technology blueprints revealed devices that operated on principles beyond current scientific understanding. Dr. Martinez's voice carried clearly as he explained the discovery. Honored council members, these ruins are approximately 50,000 years old. They were built by a species that vanished before any of our civilizations began. The technology we found there has allowed humanity to advance far beyond current galactic standards in several key areas. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled aliens. The implications were staggering. If ancient technology existed in human space, it might exist elsewhere as well. The galaxy's power structure could be far more complex than anyone had imagined. General Vextar attempted to maintain his aggressive posture despite the changed circumstances. Even with stolen technology, you are still one ship against the combined fleets of the Council. Your position is ultimately untenable. Admiral Brooks studied the tactical displays that showed defensive positions around the Leviathan. The ship's point defense systems and energy shields operated on principles that made conventional weapons largely ineffective. But more importantly, advanced sensors were detecting quantum displacement signatures at coordinates throughout Council space. General Vextar, your sensors will confirm that our defensive capabilities are sufficient to handle any threat you might pose. Admiral Brooks replied calmly. But more importantly, this ship is not alone. Humanity has built more than one vessel of this class. The implications hit the Council like a physical blow. If humanity had multiple ships of this capability, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted dramatically overnight. The species they had dismissed as insignificant had become a major force that could not be ignored or contained. Council Speaker Zarthek realized that everything had changed. The galaxy would never be the same after this day. The question now was whether the transition would be peaceful or violent. Admiral Brooks, what are your terms, he asked, his earlier arrogance replaced by careful diplomatic language. The first warning came from the edge of known space, where automated sensor stations kept watch for pirates and other threats. Sensor operator Thisik of the Zephyrian Border Guard noticed an unusual reading on her deep space scanners during what should have been a routine shift. Her antennae twitched with nervous energy as she studied the data. Commander Veltar, I'm detecting strange quantum signatures along the Terran border, she reported. Her voice carried the musical quality common to her species, but worry made. It sounds strained. The reading appeared for exactly 3 seconds before vanishing completely. Commander Veltar drifted over to her station, his flowing robes making him seem to float rather than walk. The Zephyrians had evolved on a low-gravity world and their movements were graceful even in standard gravity. Show me the data, Thisik. The holographic display revealed sensor readings that made no sense according to current galactic knowledge. The quantum signature was massive, suggesting something larger than any known ship class. The energy output was off the scale, beyond anything in the Council database. Most disturbing of all, it had appeared and disappeared without any visible means of propulsion or stealth technology. Could this be a sensor malfunction? Commander Veltar asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. Negative, sir. I've run full diagnostics on all systems. The reading was clear and precise. Whatever it was moving faster than anything in the Council fleet. The displacement signature suggests technology we don't recognize. Similar reports began filtering in from other border stations across the region. Each sighting lasted only seconds, but the pattern was consistent. Something large and fast was moving through the space between human territory and Council space. The sightings always occurred at the edge of sensor range, making detailed analysis impossible. On Nexus Prime, the Council's intelligence service took notice of the growing reports. Director Kolveth of the Vortons reviewed the data with the methodical attention his species was known for. The Vortons had survived and prospered for millennia by being careful and thorough. They did not dismiss unusual events as coincidence. General, Vextar, what is your assessment of these sensor contacts? Director Kolveth asked during an emergency briefing in the Council Security Center. General Vextar studied the holographic displays with the confidence that came from commanding the galaxy's most powerful military force. The Krillians had built their reputation on strength and direct action. Subtle threats were not their area of expertise. Probably human probe ships testing our defenses, the general replied. Their primitive technology might produce unusual sensor readings. We should increase patrol strength along their border and show them that we're watching. Director Kolveth was not convinced. His large eyes reflected the data displays as he analyzed every detail. General, these readings suggest something far beyond current human capabilities. The energy signatures are too large for probe ships. The speed is impossible according to known physics. The intelligence briefing continued for hours as reports came in from across the border region. Trade ships reported brief sensor contacts that vanished before they could be identified. Military patrols found nothing but empty space where the readings had originated. The pattern was consistent with advanced stealth technology, but no species in the galaxy possessed systems that sophisticated. Meanwhile, deep in the darkness between stars, the USS Leviathan glided silently through space. The ship's stealth systems were based on technology found in the ancient ruins, allowing it to bend light and sensor beams around its hull. Only when the quantum displacement drive activated did the ship become briefly visible to conventional sensors. Admiral Brooks studied the tactical displays on his bridge while his intelligence staff monitored council communications. Colonel Patricia Davis led the intelligence team, a group of specialists who had spent years infiltrating alien communication networks and gathering information about council military capabilities. Sir, the council is beginning to notice our approach, Colonel Davis reported. Border patrols have doubled along the human frontier. Their intelligence services are actively investigating the sensor anomalies we've been creating. Excellent, Admiral Brooks replied. Fear of the unknown is often more effective than fear of the known. Let them wonder what's coming. How are our diplomatic guests adjusting to their new accommodations? Admiral Carter and her team had been brought aboard the Leviathan during a secret rendezvous near the edge of Council space. Captain Morrison was still processing the magnitude of what humanity had built in absolute secrecy. The ship was larger than most space stations and more advanced than anything he had imagined possible. Dr. Hayes spent her time exploring the ship's research facilities, which contained laboratories that surpassed anything on Earth or the Council worlds. The biological research section alone was larger than most universities, with equipment that could analyze life at the molecular level. Admiral Carter. The technology here is decades beyond anything the Council possesses, Dr. Hayes reported. During their daily briefing, the medical bay has healing devices that could cure diseases we consider incurable. The computer systems process information faster than entire planetary networks. Where did all this come from? Admiral Carter had been briefed on the Titan discovery during her transport to the Leviathan. The revelation that humanity had found ancient alien technology explained much about their rapid advancement. But it also raised disturbing questions about who had built the ruins and why they had vanished. We weren't the first intelligent species to visit our solar system, Admiral Carter explained. The beings who built this technology were active 50,000 years ago, long before any current galactic civilization existed. The question is what happened to them, and whether other species have made similar discoveries. Captain Morrison joined their conversation, his face showing the strain of recent events. Ma'am, if we've had this capability for 5 years, why did we keep trying diplomacy? We could have demanded respect from a position of strength. Because revealing our true capabilities means crossing a line we can't uncross, Admiral Carter replied. Once the Council knows what we're capable of, the galaxy will never be the same. There will be species that want to ally with us, and others that will see us as a threat to be eliminated. The Leviathan continued its journey through space, using the quantum displacement drive in short bursts to avoid detection while still making good time toward its destination. The ship's passage left brief distortions in space-time that confused alien sensors and created more reports of unusual activity. Nexus Prime. Emergency sessions convened as the reports multiplied. The various species' military commanders argued about how to respond to the growing threat. Some wanted to send battle fleets to investigate. Others preferred to wait and gather more intelligence. Council Speaker Zarthek found himself in the unusual position of not knowing how to handle a situation. The Vorthons prided themselves on understanding every factor in any equation. The current mystery challenged that confidence. Director Kolveth, what are your recommendations? The council speaker asked during a closed session of the Security Committee. Sir, we should prepare for the possibility that humanity has been hiding significant military capabilities. Director Kolveth replied. The sensor readings suggest technology beyond our current understanding. We may have underestimated them severely. General Vextar remained skeptical. Even if the humans have built larger ships, they lack the industrial capacity to challenge the combined council fleet. 1 or 2 advanced vessels cannot threaten our entire civilization. Director Kolveth studied the data streams flowing across his personal display. Something was moving through space toward Nexus Prime, something that defied every assumption the Council had made about human capabilities. His species had survived by being prepared for the unexpected, and his instincts told him that humanity was about to surprise everyone. The massive crystal towers of Nexus Prime stretched into the purple sky like frozen lightning. This was the heart of galactic civilization, where 12 alien species had ruled the stars for 3,000 years. The Galactic Council met here every season to make decisions that affected trillions of beings across hundreds of worlds. Captain Jake Morrison sat in the observer's gallery, his blue uniform standing out among the colorful robes and strange forms of alien diplomats. He had been to Nexus Prime many times over the past 5 years, always with the same mission. Today would likely end the same way as all the others. The council chamber was enormous, with seats arranged in a perfect circle around a central speaking platform. Each section belonged to one of the founding species. The Zephyrians sat in the east, their thin bodies and flowing robes making them look like living wind. The Krillians occupied the north section, their massive forms covered in natural armor that gleamed under the chamber lights. The ancient Vorthans held the west, their tall frames and large eyes giving them an air of cold intelligence. Admiral Helen Carter walked toward the speaking platform with steady steps. Her gray hair was pulled back in a military style, and her weathered face showed the strain of decades serving in Earth's diplomatic corps. She had fought in the colony wars and helped unite the human worlds under one government. Now she faced a different kind of battle. The council speaker, a Vorthan named Zarthek, looked down at her with barely hidden contempt. His species had ruled the galaxy long before humans learned to make fire. They considered themselves the most advanced beings in known space. The human delegation may state their case, Zarthek said, his voice carrying through the chamber's translation systems. Admiral Carter activated the holographic display. Images of Earth appeared, showing green continents and blue oceans. Honored council members, humanity comes before you once again seeking membership in this great alliance. We have achieved peace on our homeworld and unified our colonies under a single government. Our technology grows stronger each year, and we offer unique perspectives that could benefit all species. A sound like grinding metal filled the chamber. General Vextar of the Krillians was laughing. What could a species that only learned to travel between stars 200 years ago possibly offer us? Your largest warships are smaller than our escort vessels. Your colonies number in the dozens while we control thousands of worlds. The Zephyrian delegate raised one thin hand. The humans continue to show violent tendencies. Their history is filled with wars and conflicts. They lack the peaceful nature required for council membership. Captain Morrison felt his jaw tighten. He had heard these arguments many times before. The alien species seemed determined to view humanity through the lens of their worst moments, while ignoring their achievements. They spoke of human violence, while their own histories were filled with conquest and domination. Dr. Lisa Hayes, the human xenobiologist, stood beside Admiral Carter. Her role was to provide scientific and cultural context for humanity's case. Respected council members, every species in this chamber has a history of conflict. The Krillians built their empire through conquest. The Vorthans subjected dozens of worlds to their rule. Humanity has moved beyond its warlike past and seeks to join the galactic community as partners, not conquerors. Council Speaker Zarthek's large eyes fixed on her with cold amusement. Dr. Hayes, your species achieved faster than light travel merely 2 centuries ago. In galactic terms, you are infants. Perhaps in another 1,000 years, when you have proven your stability and wisdom, we might consider your application. The voting began without further discussion. Each species representative pressed symbols on their control panels, casting their decision for all to see. The result was the same as it had been for 50 years. 12 votes against, 0 votes in favor. Admiral Carter's face remained calm, but Captain Morrison could see the tension in her shoulders. She had dedicated her life to this cause, believing that diplomacy and patience would eventually win humanity a place among the stars. Each rejection seemed to chip away at that belief. As the session ended, Council Speaker Zarthek approached the human delegation with what passed for a smile among his species. Admiral Carter, please understand that our decision comes from wisdom, not malice. Your people are simply not ready for the responsibilities of council membership. Your ships are primitive, your colonies are weak, and your culture is still too violent for civilized company. Captain Morrison watched alien delegates file out of the chamber, their conversations filled with dismissive comments about the primitive humans and their laughable military. Some spoke of humanity as if they were dangerous animals that needed to be contained. Others treated them like children who had wandered into adult conversations. Admiral Carter gathered her materials with practiced efficiency. Captain, signal the Liberty. We're departing within the hour. Yes, ma'am, Morrison replied. He activated his communicator and sent a brief message to their ship. Then he activated another device, one hidden in his uniform's collar. The signal was encrypted and would travel instantly across the galaxy through quantum communication networks. The message was simple. Diplomatic solution failed. Council remains hostile to human interests. As they walked through the crystal corridors of Nexus Prime, alien beings stepped aside to let them pass. Some showed polite indifference, others barely concealed disgust. A few young aliens stared with curiosity at the strange humans, but their elders quickly pulled them away. Dr. Hayes spoke quietly as they reached their transport. 50 years of this, Admiral. 50 years of being told we're not good enough, not advanced enough, not peaceful enough. How much longer do we keep trying? Admiral Carter looked back at the council towers one last time. We keep trying until Earth decides there's a better way. The people back home are growing tired of being treated like second-class citizens in their own galaxy. Captain Morrison knew she was right. Public opinion on Earth and the colonies was shifting. The younger generation especially had little patience for the Council's condescending attitude. They pointed out that humanity had fought off alien invasions, colonized hostile worlds, and built a peaceful federation spanning dozens of star systems. Yet they were still denied basic respect by species who controlled the galaxy through ancient privilege rather than current merit. The transport lifted off from Nexus Prime's surface, carrying the human delegation back to their ship. Below them, the crystal spires gleamed in the alien sunset, beautiful and cold. It was a monument to galactic civilization, but one that had no place for humanity. In the depths of space, the quantum message reached its destination. Automated systems activated, sending signals to construction yards and military bases across human space. The time for endless diplomacy was ending. Soon the galaxy would learn that humanity had been preparing for this moment for years. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had always been a frontier region, filled with mining stations and research outposts. But for the past 5 years, something unprecedented had been taking shape in the darkness between the rocky worlds. Hidden from casual observation by sensor-blocking fields and careful positioning, the largest construction project in human history neared completion. Fleet Admiral Ryan Brooks stood on the bridge of the USS Leviathan and marveled at what humanity had accomplished. The ship stretched 15 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull made from materials that should not have existed according to known physics. The bridge itself was enormous, a cathedral of metal and crystal, They could house a small city. Workstations, covered multiple levels, connected by graceful walkways that seemed to float in the air. Commander Sarah Williams emerged from the massive engine room deep in the ship's belly. Her engineering uniform was stained with coolant, and her face showed the exhaustion of someone who had been working around the clock for months. Admiral, all fusion cores are online and stable. The quantum displacement drive has passed every test we can devise. We're ready for our first real voyage. Dr. Kevin Martinez joined them at the main command station. He led the xenoarchaeology team that had made the discovery, which changed everything. 5 years ago, his team had been studying Saturn's moon, Titan, when they found ruins buried beneath the ice. The structures were ancient beyond imagination, built by a species that had vanished 50,000 years before humans learned to make fire. The ship's artificial intelligence has finished processing the alien knowledge base, Dr. Martinez reported. We understand maybe 10% of what we found in those ruins, but that 10% has let us build something more advanced than anything in Council space. Admiral Brooks nodded, remembering the day the discovery was announced to Earth's leadership. The ruins contained technology that made the Council's most advanced systems look primitive, faster-than-light drives that could cross the galaxy in days rather than months, weapons that could crack planets, defensive systems that bent space itself to deflect incoming attacks. The crew of the Leviathan numbered 50,000, drawn from the best minds and strongest bodies in human space. They had trained in secret for 2 years, knowing that their mission might determine whether humanity survived as an independent species or became a subject people under alien rule. Lieutenant, Commander Ashley Turner sat at the communications station, monitoring messages from across human space. Her screens showed diplomatic reports, military intelligence, and coded transmissions from sleeper agents in Council territory. Admiral, message from Captain Morrison. The diplomatic team has been escorted out of Council space under armed guard. The Council made it clear that further peaceful overtures would not be welcome. Admiral Brooks studied the tactical displays that surrounded his command chair. For 50 years, humanity had tried the patient approach. They had shared medical advances that saved alien lives. They had offered trade agreements that would have benefited everyone. They had attempted cultural exchanges to build understanding between species. Each gesture had been met with condescension or outright hostility. The Council species saw humanity as dangerous children who needed to be controlled. They restricted human access to key trade routes, forcing human merchants to pay massive fees for passage through alien space. They banned human participation in scientific conferences, claiming that human researchers were too primitive to contribute meaningful knowledge. Most insulting of all, they treated human diplomats as nuisances to be tolerated rather than equals, to be respected. Helm, set course for Nexus Prime, Admiral Brooks commanded. Maximum displacement speed. It's time the galaxy learned that humanity is not to be dismissed so easily. Chief Pilot Marcus Chen worked at his station, inputting coordinates that would take them across half the galaxy. The navigation computer calculated jump points and stellar positions with inhuman precision. Course laid in, sir. We'll arrive in Council space in 72 hours. The Leviathan's quantum displacement drive activated with a sound like reality tearing. Space folded around the massive ship as it slipped between dimensions, traveling faster than light without actually moving through normal space. The technology was beyond anything the Council possessed, allowing near-instantaneous travel across vast distances. As the ship vanished from the Sol system, automated beacons began broadcasting across human space. Military bases went to full alert. Colony defense forces activated. The message was simple. Operation Revelation had begun. Admiral Brooks walked to the observation deck, a transparent dome that offered a view of the twisted space around them during quantum displacement. The stars were stretched into lines of light, and reality itself seemed to bend and flow like water. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Commander Williams joined him at the viewing port. Sir, I have to ask, are we doing the right thing? Once we reveal the Leviathan, there's no going back. The Council will know that we've been hiding our true capabilities. Sarah, for 50 years we've tried to earn their respect through peaceful means, Admiral Brooks replied. We've been patient while they treated us like barbarians. We've been diplomatic while they denied us basic rights. We've been humble while they insulted our entire species. That approach has failed completely. Dr. Martinez approached them carrying a data tablet filled with archaeological reports. Admiral, the ruins on Titan weren't the only ones. My teams have found similar structures on 3 other worlds in human space. The ancient species that built this technology left it scattered across the galaxy. We may not be the only ones to have found it. The implications were staggering. If other species had discovered similar ruins, they might also possess advanced technology hidden from the Council. The galaxy's power structure could be far more complex than anyone realized. Lieutenant Commander Turner's voice carried across the observation deck from the communication station. Sir, we're receiving status reports from other vessels. The Aurora has reached Alpha Centauri. The Titan is holding position near the Proxima colonies. The Goliath reports ready status from the Vega system. Admiral Brooks allowed himself a slight smile. The Leviathan was not humanity's only secret. 3 other ships of similar design waited at strategic positions throughout human space. Each was smaller than the Leviathan but still more powerful than anything in the Council fleet. The Council species think they know humanity, Admiral Brooks said. They see our history of conflict and assume we're nothing but violent primitives. They don't understand that our conflicts taught us things their peaceful civilizations never learned. We know how to fight when fighting is necessary. We know how to build weapons that can protect what we love. And we know when diplomacy has failed. The quantum displacement field began to fluctuate as they approached their destination. Chief Pilot Chen announced that they would reach Council space in 6 hours. The crew made final preparations, checking systems and reviewing their orders. Admiral Brooks returned to the bridge and took his position in the command chair. Around him, the best of humanity prepared to announce their species' true strength to a galaxy that had underestimated them for too long. The time for hiding was over.